Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I want to specially appreciate all those who have taken time to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chigozorim Ogubike TV, and my new subscribers, thank you in advance. Today we'll be running a series on child sexual abuse, and today we'll be talking about how do you know your child is sexually abused. So have you been currently suspecting that your child must be abused? This is for you. So I want you to sit back, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye. Thank you. Before we go into this discussion, we'll be discussing some preamble. We want to make some definitions. Who is a child? According to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and according to the Child Rights Act of 2003, a child is a person under the age of 18 years. What is child sexual abuse? Child sexual abuse is any sexual contact between an adult and a minor. It is forcing and persuading a child to engage in any sexual activity. It can be contact or non-contact. Remember, a child cannot give consent. So any sexual activity between an adult and a minor is child sexual abuse. What are some of the behaviors that shows child sexual abuse? Number one, when you force a child to be naked and touch his or herself, you are abusing a child. When you touch a child inappropriately, whether the child is clothed or not, you're sexually abusing the child. When you force a child to be in front of a webcam, in front of a camera, and you video her naked, you are abusing a child. Or you are naked in front of a child and you're touching yourself, or you expose the child to pornography, you are sexually abusing a child. Then the final one is the penetrative sex. When you have any sexual intercourse with a child, you are sexually abusing the child. The next question we need to ask is, what is this proportion of child sexual abuse? The truth is that there is no true value of child sexual abuse. Why? Because this crime happens in silence and most of the victims, they don't speak out. However, it is estimated in Nigeria that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys are likely to experience child sexual abuse before they are 18 years of age. The next question you ask yourself, what gender can be sexually abused? Both the male and the female gender have equal chances to be sexually abused. However, research has shown that girls have higher chances of being sexually abused. The next question you ask yourself, who can abuse a child? And the answer is, anybody can abuse a child. An adult, a young adult, a youth, an adolescent, a child. When a child abuses a child, that means there is always a power exertion. Maybe the other child has a power or influence on that child. And most times, people that abuse children are people the child knows and are familiar with. So anybody can abuse a child. So the next question is, who are the perpetrators of child sexual abuse? The perpetrators, I can categorize them into familiar people and non-familiar people. So the familiar people can be family members, friends, people that they know. People can be their uncles, their aunties, their brothers, their father, their stepfather, their aunties. Then can also be neighbors. That's a non-familiar. Other non-familiar people can just be their neighbors, strangers, and all that. So anybody can abuse it. Moving on to the next question, you ask, where does child sexual abuse occur? Basically, it occurs in 2 locations. 1, the child's home, and 2, the abuser's home. It also happens in other locations, the school, markets, the parks, the religious institution. It can happen anywhere. The next question you ask yourself, what is the disclosure rate of child sexual abuse? Do people actually speak up when they are sexually abused? The disclosure rate is very poor. Why? There are basically 3 reasons why children who undergo sexual abuse don't actually disclose. One of them, they are bribed. Most of them, I've heard of cases where they were bribed with as little as sweets, biscuits, juice, cartoon, and they take them for a treat. They just bribe them. And when they bribe them, they tell, don't worry, I will supply you with this. If you tell somebody, I will not give you this sweet, I'll not buy juice for you, I'll not buy chewing gum for you, and the child, because of is interested in all those little things, the child will not talk. Sometimes they're threatened. Sometimes the person threatens, if you tell anybody, I, the perpetrator, I will die. And that person will threaten, if you threaten anybody you tell, will die. If you tell your father will die, your mother will die, your sister will die. They're threatening with all sorts of threats. I will beat you, I'll not give you this. They're threatened. And when they're threatened, sometimes they prefer to close their mouth and they will not disclose. And the third reason why they don't disclose, they'll tell them, you will not be believed. Even if you tell anybody, you will not be believed. Especially these cases occur especially when it's a family member. Maybe a stepfather is abusing her teenage child, or it's happening in the household, and or maybe a girl that came to live with her uncle, a relative, is staying with them. The man of the house abusing the girl, and if she wants to speak on it, even though you tell my wife about this, she will not believe you. She loves you and she trusts me. So they'll threaten them that I'm not going to believe them. So, and they remain quiet and they remain calm. That's why the disclosure rate is poor. Hello, if you are still watching to this moment, that means you are enjoying the content. Please kindly click the subscription button, and just give you 1 second to click. Have you clicked? All right, thank you for clicking and subscribing to my channel. So the next big question is, how do we know that our children are currently sexually abused? I'll just give you 5 ways to know that your child is sexually abused. One of them is change in behavior. You see, and what you have to know in change in behavior is different children have different way they react to abuse. Some of them will become aggressive. You see the child becoming more aggressive, becoming more destructive. Okay, you see the child, you see the child becoming more quieter, more withdrawn. You see the child becoming clingy. Sometimes you see a change in the eating pattern. The child will be having frequent nightmares. You also notice that the child will start wetting the bed. When you see some of these changes in behavior, something that your children were not actually doing, and suddenly you see them behaving in such type of manner, is a possible way to know that something is actually going wrong in the life of this child. And as a mother and as a guardian, it's better you put your eyes down and actually observe some things and know what is happening in your child's life. Number 2, another way to know that your child is sexually abused, they'll start avoiding the abuser, the perpetrator. Have you noticed when your child sees a particular person will become afraid. They become afraid. They don't want the person to touch them. They don't want the person to carry them. They'll cry and they will not want to they'll just do all sorts of things. And sometimes they will avoid to spend time with that kind of person. So when you see some of these signs, you just have to observe them. Is it that you ask yourself, is it that this child is not feeling fine, or something is before the child doesn't do that, and suddenly this child have developed this kind of attitude? What is happening? That's when you think and start, thinking and racking your brain. What is happening? Is it normal? Is my child not feeling fine? Or is something happening? So it's a time for you to be alert. Number 3, how you know your child is sexually abused, when the child starts displaying sexual inappropriate behaviors. Those behaviors can be in words, and some of them can be in actions. If it's in action, you see the child trying to touch his or herself, those private parts, those sensitive parts that the perpetrators have been touching, and in words, you see the child using some sexually inappropriate words. You'll be wondering, where is this child learning how to speak in this kind of manner? That another way is, you see the child will start asking vague questions. You'll be wondering, where is these questions coming from? And most times the child will start giving the parents or the guardian clues. And we parents, we are very, very busy. We've come back from a very, very tight and stressful work, or from businesses, and we are back when we want to rest, and the child comes to come around you and maybe want to talk, like, please leave me alone, I'm stressed, I'm tired, please go and sleep. And the child can be in a home where she's abused or where he's abused for several years. If a parent is very, very busy, if a parent is not watchful, and when the child is giving clues and the parent is not sensitive, the abuse will always continue. So these are some of the ways you know when the child starts showing this inappropriate behavior is a signal, is a sign that something is actually happening in the life of that child. Number 4 ways to know that your child is sexually abused is when you start noticing physical problems. And what are some of the physical problems you know? Number 1 is the health problem. You know, when your child starts complaining of headache, tummy ache, my tummy is aching me, I'm having headache. It's also a sign that something is actually happening to this child. Another way is when you start seeing soreness of the genitals or the anus. You know, it's also a sign. Or when the child have sexually transmitted infections, or when the child comes up with pregnancy, it's also a sign for you to know that this child is sexually abused. When the child start having problem at school, you know, the child will start having problem, have difficulty in learning, the child will have difficulty in concentrating, the child's grade suddenly becomes low. You've been wondering what is happening. A child that was very, very bright, a child that was very, very focused, a child that was a high flyer, you suddenly see that something is happening. Just like time for you to sit down and know what is actually the problem and know how to help out as a parent, as a guardian. So if this abuse happens at an adolescent, at the teenage age, maybe between the ages of 13 to 18 years, there are some peculiar signs you will notice in the child. 1, the child starts engaging in risky sexual behaviors, having multiple sexual partners, engagement in sexual intercourse, and all that. The child will also start using drugs. The child will start alcohol consumption. This child will start self-harm. They want to harm themselves, you know, and most time the child will want to run away from the house. Also, you see them start having suicidal ideation. Some of them will attempt suicide, and some of them will actually complete the suicide. So when you see some of this behavior, a drastic change in behavior, in where they don't behave, you know, they're no longer comfortable in where they are, it's a time for you to sit back and observe, watch, and know what is happening to your child. Then if you, after everything, you find out indeed your child is sexually abused, what do you do? Number 1, first of all, you take the child to the hospital for proper medical evaluation and counseling. Number 2, you report to the police station. Number 3, there are some NGOs that help to fight against child sexual abuse. You can actually contact those NGOs and know how to go about it. In my next video, I'll be talking about how do we spot the sexual perpetrators, the sexual predators, the sexual abusers. Yeah, final words. It's very, very important for parents to watch out for their children, watch out what is happening when they start giving you these signs, as we've discussed, and many more. There's another topic you want me to discuss or want me to share more light on this topic, kindly put them in the comment section. Till next time, when I'll be talking about how to spot those abusers. Please, if you have not liked, please kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you. Subscribe to